It's the 15th of December, 2013, and I'm warming up to box for a national title. All around me, fighters sit with towels draped over their anxious faces, each one waiting for their moment, alone. One by one, the boxers' names are called and they disappear into the arena. The victors come back beaming and taking selfies with their coaches and their medals. The losers return bruised, dejected, or in tears. Now, normally by now I'd be beside myself. I'd be questioning everything, my skills, my cardio, my arrogance at even thinking I could do this. Even though I'd want to picture myself grinning for photos with all the other winners, instead I'd be cycling back on what I'd been told about my opponent. Someone, helpfully, had told me that she was a big hitter. The words, "that girl can bang," would be echoing around my mind as I'd picture myself laid out on the canvas. Overcome, overwhelmed, over. But not this time. This time, my feet dance expectantly to the song of the skipping rope as it whistles past my ears. I am completely absorbed in the task. After 8 years of competition, something profound has changed. I inhabit my body as I make my way out to fight, one purposeful step after another. And as I enter into the arena, I feel at peace. It's as if the crowd has been hushed by a crisp layer of freshly fallen snow. The stillness in my mind interrupted solely by a curious little voice that says, "I have got this." Is this a sound of self-belief? It's not something I'm used to hearing at this stage, but there it is, clear and unerring. For the very first time, I know that if I fight well, I'll deserve the win. Now, the bout is no walkover. It turns out the girl can bang, and I take some good shots. But my focus is unshakable. And as we begin exchanging punches, my belief only grows stronger. For 2 minutes at a time, I'm living in a soft, slow-motion version of reality. I feel present and alive, focused without focusing. My hands do the work for me, and my feet know where to go without a thought. I'm relaxed. I'm enjoying myself. I'm in flow. The real difference between this fight and any other, though, comes at the end. As we stand side by side waiting for the judge's verdict, I suspect we both know that I'll get the decision. But as my hand is raised, I feel a surge of alien emotion. I'm not sure if it's happiness or pride or just a good old-fashioned sense of achievement, but it is new. With every win before this one, when my hand had been raised, I'd hung my head and averted my eyes. I'd never felt that I deserved a sense of victory. I'd always been ready to write off any achievement as fluke or chance, just another lucky day when I got away with it. Looking back, I can tell you that what I'd felt upon winning up until now had been shame. But this time, I own the triumph. My name's Hazel Gale. I'm a former fighter turned therapist, author, and creator of the fantasy mental health game Betwixt. And I tell this story because it marked the moment I knew that I had changed. Prior to this, I'd struggled through decades of anxiety, shame, and self-doubt that eventually left me in a state of chronic mental and physical illness. Although I won that fight, I never actually got my strength or fitness back fully. But psychologically, I came out of the whole experience much, much stronger than I had been before. That strength didn't come about in the way people tend to assume, though. It wasn't only that I was empowered by the ability to fend for myself or fortified by the stress of contests. I didn't end up becoming famous or going to the Olympics. Even if I had done those things, they would not be the point of me sharing this story or others like it. Competitive fighting put me on a journey of self-discovery by painfully exposing my vulnerabilities and making me face them. So that moment when I first felt joyous in victory was about far more than just winning a boxing title. It symbolized a departure from my old, self-defeating mindset, something I hadn't even known I was doing until I was forced to address it. And what I had to do to get there, I know now, was retrieve something precious from the shadows of my mind. And what that thing was might come as a surprise. My lost treasure was fear. Over a life of being a tomboy child and a renegade teen with a competitive father who praised my physical prowess, I learned to reject and repress the emotion of fear, out of fear that to show this quote-unquote weakness would be to expose myself as unworthy. Ultimately, I pushed my fear so deeply into the darkest realms of my unconscious that it turned into a monster. Of course, I didn't know this while it was happening because fear was so far off my radar. Instead, I'd have panic attacks that I couldn't understand were panic attacks. I overreacted when people pointed out my nerves, and as all that denied emotion bottlenecked, I became ill. Insomnia, fatigue, gastrointestinal issues, allergy flare-ups, the list goes on. My refusal to admit or accept my fear meant that my fear had started to consume me until it all got too much and I shut down completely. Therapy brought me back from the brink. Slowly, I learned to accept fear along with other emotions and the shameful self-judgments that I made. I rediscovered my values, creativity, and sense of purpose, which was not to be a fighter, by the way. That stage of my life was over the moment I felt that alien sense of worth. I had learned the lesson. The fight was over. Now I look back on my time fighting as if it were a long course of rather brutal therapy. I believe I gravitated towards it in the first place because I needed to learn what it would force me to face. Vulnerability, emotion, and outdated stories about what it means to be strong. And I'm telling you all of this now in the hope that it might help you to see your challenges in a new light. Obviously, not everyone finds themselves literally fighting for a feeling of self-worth, but I think we all know what it's like to do battle with our inner demons. And the flaw in this strategy is that the harder we fight our fears, the larger they loom, and the more disconnected and fractured we feel. And there's another paradox at play too. I used to think that I needed to be a success before I'd be worthy of connection. But it turns out that I had all that entirely the wrong way round. Now I know that unless we allow ourselves to feel connected, to feel seen as who we are, vulnerabilities and all, then we'll stand very little chance of experiencing a true feeling of success.